Hi guys, thanks for coming back and watching the video. In this one, it's close to home for me, affecting my family. So it's something that I'm researching myself, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm reading it as I'm learning it. I'm reading it out, trying to help people. It's going to help us, and hopefully it helps some other people to prevent, which is what we're talking about, is dementia and Alzheimer's. I'm going to explain that the science behind it, the biology of it, and why we as a society or a race or the human beings are increasingly starting to see this more cognitive decline in our old age. And it's not just old age, it starts very young, but we don't know yet, we don't see it. It starts from about as early as 45 years old. Okay, yeah, so I'm talking about dementia and Alzheimer's. It's close to my family, as I said. We need to take action before it's too late. Most of what I'm saying is common sense, but I want to research the science and so we can understand it, so then we can make better decisions to move forward. Okay, people think that it's just like getting old. It's natural part of getting old. You lose your memory and you lose your independence, but it's not. It can be slowed down or even prevented. Okay. It's not just bad luck or genetics and handed down. Most diseases these days, like diabetes and stuff, and heart disease and stuff, and cancers, can be prolonged or prevented with the right lifestyle, healthy habits. So we're going to look into it deeply. We're going to look into it deeply and try to understand it and see how we can push better. Okay. Most of what I'm saying is obviously common sense, and it's also in the information that I give away in my 4 weeks free coaching. So if you're interested in helping yourself more or learning more, then you can go in my description on the video here and you can click on the free 4 weeks coaching program, and we'll send it straight to your inbox. Okay, so that you're ready to go and get started. Now, one caveat I do want to say, I'm not a doctor. As I said, I'm just reading this and learning it myself. I'm trying to help other people to learn it as well. So there is a common saying in science that I love and I've used for years. Half of what we learn today will be proven wrong in the future. The problem is we don't know what half that is. So, you know, if you're watching this in 2046, 20 years later from when I've recorded it, and some of it is wrong, I'm sorry, but we can only do the best of what we have at the time. So I'm learning the cutting edge stuff that's out now, available to us. And this is what I'm talking about here today. So part one is about the biology and what is Alzheimer's. Now, Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. So in Alzheimer's, it relates to 60 to 80% of all dementia. It's progressive. It's a physical neurodegenerative disease in the brain. The brain shrinks or atrophies, and the neurons in there and the wires on the neurons that signals your brain systematically get choked and then destroyed, and they die. So your brain is less able to remember and make decisions or use your body. Okay, it's a progressive disease. It starts. It doesn't start when you're 70 or 80. It can start with signs of brain fog and little memory loss things from the age of 45. So what actually is it? Okay, so it's a toxic buildup. It doesn't start when it starts when, as I said, it starts when you're 40s and your 50s. Silent toxic sludge, microscopic proteins that are called amyloids. That's one type, and the other one is called tau. These toxic proteins that we want to be flushing out, they're like waste products. They're left over in the brain. They clog up the spaces inside your brains, and they rust it. They rust your brain cells. And that's what they block and stop your thoughts from working properly. So amyloids, the first one we think of this as a sticky microscopic garbage. Okay, so when it isn't cleared away, it clumps together outside of the brain cells and forms a hard plaque. Now imagine plaque on your teeth. You're getting plaque in your brains, inside your brain cells. Imagine pouring super glue over a motherboard of a computer, and then suddenly the circuits can't get through. That's in your brain. So there's a glue going onto your neurons in your brain, and you cannot get the thoughts and the signals through your neurons. Okay, That's how amyloid affects us. And the other one is tau. Tau destroys the cells from the inside. So inside a healthy neuron, restart that. So the other one we're talking about is tau. Tau work in healthy neurons. They are like wooden tiles on a railway track, keeping the railway track going in a nice straight line. Now, after a while, the taus that do not get cleared and restructured, instead of being in a straight line, they start to get entangled and curling up into wiry mess. So these straight line thoughts and your connections of your neurons do not meet anymore, they get entangled. And so taus, the railway gets broken up and the cells starve and then the neurons die. And what we do have in our brain that helps to clear these toxic proteins, amyloids and taus, is something in the brain called the lymphatic system. Now the muscles have the lymphatic system and the body does, but inside the brain, the lymphatic system doesn't work in there. So we've got the lymphatic system. And what you want to think about that is a jet wash for your brain. Okay, and it comes in when you're asleep or when you're doing exercise. It pumps in and it clears out these plaques. It's like a flossing for your teeth, but you're flossing your brain cells and you're getting rid of these amyloids and these tau toxic proteins. So when the lymphatic system turns on, it's like it floods your brain with cerebrospinal fluid, okay, from the spinal fluid, and it comes rushing into the brain and goes all through the neurons in your brain like a dishwasher. So when you're asleep at night or you're doing hard exercise, it's like turning on the dishwasher and cleaning out all the crap off of the dishes or the plaques that are stuck in your brain, the proteins that are stuck in your brain. Think of it like a dishwasher or a jet wash. So yeah, how do we turn on the dishwasher? We've got to pump in that fluid. How do you get that pumping that fluid in there? When you exercise, your heart is pounding the blood, your blood vessels open and pumps more spinal fluid into the brain and cleans out that tissue, power washing those toxic amyloid plaques and the taus away before they get hard. So, you know, like you put, think about having your food on your plate. If you wash your plate, as soon as you finish eating, it's still soft and that dirty food comes off the plate nice and easy. If you leave your plate out overnight and then you try to wash it in the morning, that food has gone hard, then it's going to be a bit harder to wash. So we try to do it every night before the plaques, so the toxic proteins, amyloids and tau, before they go hard, try to wash them out, clean them out. It's a daily thing, daily exercise, daily good sleep. And we're going to get into that now. So sleep is the ultimate weapon that we have been ignoring, underappreciating, especially me. I hated going to sleep. I just wanted to stay awake all night, be doom scrolling or watching crap on the telly, or just be out partying all night as a youngster. So it doesn't happen. The cleansing lymphatic system does not come on at all when we're awake. Okay, and it runs at 100 times faster when we get into our deep sleep. So we need to have good sleep. Okay, so thinking about, do you take magnesium to help you sleep? If you're struggling to get sleep, do you take magnesium to get good sleep? A lot of people are low in magnesium. We always recommend people take magnesium at bedtime, which is a relaxant and helps with sleep as well as 400 other chemical reactions. Magnesium. Are you stimulated by caffeine easily? So if you are, then you should be slowing down on the caffeine, whether that's in your Diet Cokes or your coffees after lunch, because it's there for 8 hours. Are you limiting screen time in the evening or using blue light blocking glasses that help you to get to sleep? Have you got a good sleep routine? Have you got a nice cool bedroom at the right temperature for your body to switch off? Have you got blackout blinds? Have you turned off every single light? You don't want lights on, even the little lights on the LED light on the TV. You want to give yourself as much opportunity to get good sleep as possible. So having a good sleep routine. Okay, yeah, as I said, caffeine and magnesium. When you hit the deep sleep cycle, so you might get 2 or 3 or 4 deep sleep cycles throughout the night, that's when your brain cells shrink by 60% and they widen the channels for the fluid that can come in. So when you're pumping, that lymphatic system gets worked to 60% better in your deep sleep cycle. So it may be a good idea to have a Whoop band or an Apple Watch or a Aura ring. Nowadays they've got the ring, so you don't even have to wear a watch. And they assess your sleep patterns, making sure if you're going for 6, 7, 8 or more hours of sleep. And it also measures what cycles of sleep. So some people don't get into deep sleep, and these bands and these wearables, smartwatches and rings, they can tell you what sort of sleep that you're getting. If you are getting bad sleep from alcohol, from stress, from lack of exercise, and then obviously these are problems that you can manage. The toxic waste, if you are not getting a good sleep, the toxic waste sits there, it gets rotten, and it builds up day after day after day after day, from 40 to 50 to 60, 70. It's been doing it for 30 years. It's really hard to start cleaning out them plaques. So, you know, the earlier we start doing it, the better. Okay, sleep is the first one. Secondly, exercise. Exercise, hard exercise, cardio, weight training, doing exercise and being active is going to help you get more sleep anyway. So that's the first thing. But also, once you doing that exercise, you start pumping that blood and you're getting that fluid into your brain, you start working it in the daytime. Good exercise will help you to get into a good deep sleep. So you get them delta, theta wave lengths, brain waves to help you get into deep sleep. Much longer, the longer you're in a deep sleep pattern, the better the brain clean will be every night. The other thing we talk about is cellular autophagy. Most gurus now are talking about autophagy by fasting. So what autophagy means is when your brain or your body clears out dying cells, and then you build brand new cells. So we're turning over cells in our brain, our bone, our body all the time. New cells. Autophagy, self-eating, your brain can do that much better when you are getting good sleep and obviously doing exercise and eating healthily. Autophagy is the other key to this. So you've got sleep, you've got exercise, and autophagy. Okay. Part 3, we're going into growth, how to protect your brain. The miracle grow, they call it. BDNF, brain-derived nootropic factor. This is a science jargon, but it is like fertilizer for your brain. It helps your brain to stimulate and grow new brain cells, will create new neural pathways in your hippocampus and all around your brain, so you don't lose your memory. And how is this stimulated? By hard exercise. Again, doing hard exercise if you can, and or even zone 2, like walking, swimming, any exercise that you can do, cycling, anything that you can do is going to help benefit you longer and longer and longer. Being sat still, doing nothing, have a sedentary lifestyle, we know is bad, and these are the reasons, these are the scientific proof that shows we got to do it. Got to do it. Okay. The other one is cooling down your inflammation. So inflammation is systemic inflammation. It's slow killing us in our joints and our bones and in our brain. Anti-inflammatories we always recommend are omega-3, the magnesium again, and the vitamin D. Now, are you in a sunny country? Have you got a tan all year round? You're probably low in vitamin D. I think 75% or even more of the Western world are low in vitamin D. You can get your vitamin D checked, or you can just go, I'm probably low in vitamin D, and take some vitamin D. Omega-3, are you eating oily fish every day? Probably not. Some people are not eating any, so we're low in omega-3. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. Most of the food that you're getting is high in omega-6, which is pro-inflammatory, causing more inflammation. We do not want inflammation in the brain. So omega-3 and vitamin D, and then magnesium is also anti-inflammatory. Quick note on omega-3 and vitamin D. Vitamins A, D, E and K are fat soluble. Omega-3 is a fat. Vitamin D needs to go with fat. So you need to be eating 10 grams ish of fat when you're taking your vitamin D and your vitamin K, if you're taking vitamin K. If you're taking vitamin D, it needs to go in at the same time as 10 grams or more of fat. That triggers the bile in your stomach The bile is what helps you to absorb the vitamin D. If you're just taking a powdery vitamin D, a powdery tablet, then it's not going to be fat, it's going to go straight through you. If you're taking a capsule or oily capsule of vitamin D, that's good, that's better, but it's probably not going to be 10 grams of fat, so you're not going to get enough bile stimulation, so that can also go straight through you. So you're going to be wanting to take it with your fat that you're eating, whether that's avocado or egg yolk or oily fish or your steak, which is fatty meat, or nuts or dark chocolate, or if you're having a full fat Greek yogurt, anything like that that's got fat in it, the healthy fats, or olives. Yeah, so that's going to help you to stimulate the bile so that you can digest and absorb the vitamin D. Okay, part 4, what do we need to be doing? We need to be doing exercise. What exercise? Okay, so the science is actually out that where is it now? Science is saying that we need to be doing 150 minutes a week of moderate zone 2 exercise. As I said, brisk walking, cycling, swimming, whatever it is that you can do, you need to try to get yourself out of breath. If you're out of breath, that means your heart's pumping that cerebral spinal fluid up into your brain, clearing out the toxin proteins before it's too late. Now 150 minutes a week, what's that? As little as 20 minutes a day. So even if you're going for a 20-minute walk a day, you are on the road to having a healthier brain as we get older. Okay. Yeah, so 150 minutes or 20 minutes a day, and that's aerobic baseline cardio, zone 2 cardio. And the other one we want to do is do not skip on weights. If it's possible, do some weight training, and you don't have to be going to the gym with the broccoli heads and the steroid freaks in the greasy gyms, although these days there are nicer budget gyms out there with a lot more general public friendly places to go. You could just get some dumbbells and do it at home. Again, if you want, I've got the 4-week program for free. If you've got dumbbells at home, even just the adjustable dumbbells, which are like the Russian dolls, where you can get 1 kilo up to 24 or 40 kilos of whatever you need, you can do a dumbbell workout at home, lifting heavy 2 times a week. That's all. This is going to help promote a healthy brain. Loading forces onto your muscles and making you use your hands makes your brain connect with your body, your hands, your feet, making your brain use your brain for spatial awareness. Okay, so yes, doing things like exercise, walking, doing weight training, keeping that spatial awareness, keeping on top of things like learning. I like learning all the time like this, but if you're learning a new language, or if you're doing crosswords or Sudoku, things like that, keeping your brain active. Don't let it just go numb by watching shite on the telly. Watch good stuff into your brain, learning, keeping new neurons, new pathways active. Yeah, that's what we want to be doing. Lastly, and not leastly, is about nutrition. It's now becoming, dementia and Alzheimer's is now being called by scientists, being referred to as type 3 diabetes. Now that means it's a glucose problem, or rather an insulin problem. So yes, the brain uses 20% of your calories per day. It goes towards your brain. It's energy heavy organ, 20%, and most of that is getting its energy from glucose. Okay, to get that glucose into your brain, to power your memory and your thinking, the brain relies on insulin, just like your muscles does. But sometimes after a while, if you've been eating too much sugar, high processed carbs, drinking alcohol all the time, and you're carrying a lot of body fat, visceral fat, and your body can become insulin resistant, and your muscles become insulin resistant. Eventually that can cross into the blood-brain barrier, and your brain can then become insulin resistant as well, and that's why they start to call it type 3 diabetes. So eating healthier, maintaining strength in your muscles, which helps you to maintain insulin sensitivity in your body, will help you to maintain insulin sensitivity in your brain. So you're not going to go low carb forever. So you will be eating carbs, you will be getting glucose, and if you're not doing any exercise, it will help affect not just your muscles in your body, not just like having no muscles and being insulin resistant, but getting lots of belly fat or body fat, and then eventually your brain won't be able to work with it either, which is why they call it type 3 diabetes. Okay, so eating healthily, again, that is in my 4-week program, which is free. You can download that. just click on the link in the description and we'll send it to you. Okay, that was going to be the last one, but just this morning on the news, they are talking about this, because it's quite high up in the news at the moment. There will be a future blood test coming out, which we can probably, hopefully, have from the age of 40 or something like that. So they'll do a blood test in your 40s and your 50s to see if you've got these biomarkers, which are a sign of dementia coming up in the future, dementia or Alzheimer's. So they've done a major study, just tracked 13,000 people, or 1,300 people in their early 60s, and found that there was a test that could spot signs of Alzheimer's pathology in about 5 to 6% of completely normal people. So people that are normal without any symptoms, they spotted these blood markers, which were a sign of Alzheimer's coming up in the future. And even better than that, there's a Harvard study that proved that these blood markers can flag people are completely disease free, nothing wrong with them, completely normal people, but these blood markers can show a sign of Alzheimer's. So they studied it and found out that it's there in the future. I can't even pronounce these, okay, so I'm learning it as we go. P-tau, so we mentioned tau before, so what the blood markers that they're looking for. So one of the toxic proteins was called tau, T-A-U. So the blood marker that they're doing a blood test on people like me and you now is called p-tau T17. So elevated levels of p-tau T17 in the bloodstream are direct biochemical signal that toxic amyloid plaques are hardening in your brain already. So there's signs that it could be happening at 45, 50, 60 already before we get to whatever age. Okay, and the other one is a AB42 and an AB40 plaque ratio. So these are the amyloid beta proteins. AB is short for amyloid beta proteins. They're the other one I talked about with the amyloids. So there's a ratio of AB42 versus AB40, specific fragments of amyloid beta protein, the sticky garbage we talked about that glues up your brain like the motherboard. The new blood tests measure the ratio between the AB42 and the AB40 in your plasma. When AB42 starts dropping, it means it's getting stuck inside your skull and forming these plaques. So the AB42 in your blood starts coming down. That means it's not coming back out of your brain. It's staying in your brain like dirty dishes, or the plaque in your teeth, it starts to form in there. So these tests that are hopefully coming out, please God, they can catch the shift years and decades before we start to see any bad symptoms, and then we could obviously work on our lifestyle to try to stop it. Okay, so to wrap this up, look at the connection here. If you're sitting here with a beer gut, eating shite food, takeaways, not trying to eat healthily, you're ignoring your health, you're not just risking all the other health risk factors, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, you're actually giving your brain type 3 diabetes or Alzheimer's or dementia, or you're risking it. Starving your brain cells, you're turning off the dishwasher, you're not letting the toxic sludge get removed, and you're letting it sit inside your brain and get hardened in your brain, okay, which is leading towards shite. When we don't like worrying about stuff that's going to happen in the future. I'm 50 this year. We're thinking about something that might happen in 20 years. But if we don't deal with it now, we'll be too late to deal with it when we're older. It's too late when it's already started and you can't function properly. How are you going to start doing weight training when you're 80s? How are you going to, and you've got brain fog? How are you going to start eating healthily when it's already happening? You want to start doing it preemptively. Be proactive. I was lucky I got type 2 diabetes at 33, so I was still quite young, and I learned about it and I reversed it and I changed my lifestyle when I was young. Okay, but this one, by the time you found out, most people, it's too late. I've seen the effects personally in my family, and it's horrible to see. Okay, big shout, I love you, mum. Big shout to my mum. It's not nice. So everybody, do not wait until it's too late. Download the free 4 weeks coaching program. If you go and get started on that, then you're going to be in a good place anyway. And if you want more, if you're ready to find out more, message me and we can have a chat about my one-to-one coaching. And I go into all health, not just fat loss, lifestyle, mental health, brain health, body health, diabetes, everything. I don't want us on medication. I want us to be happy and healthy for as long as possible so we can be around for our families and not ruin their later years in our life. It should be fun. Thanks for watching.